Welcome to the North Suburban Library District virtual program entitled Level Up Your Genealogy Research 2.0. My name is Joanna Mladic, and I am the local history librarian at NSLD. I'm excited to share with you more about the next steps in the genealogy process. There are many resources available through the North Suburban Library District to conduct genealogical and historical research. There are also a lot of resources available from other places as well. This virtual program will further explore where to find different types of historical documents to assist with genealogy research that may be found across the country or across the globe. We'll discuss a little about traveling to visit archives and repositories, as well as utilizing digital sources through Heritage Quest Online, which has an increasing number of international and across the country digital documents that are being added. In case travel perhaps isn't an option for any number of valid reasons. As always, a disclaimer, some of the records that may be shared in this program may be difficult to view, as these records span the history of the United States and the globe, and some of the materials may reflect outdated, biased, offensive, and possibly violent views and opinions. Over the course of this program, we'll talk about the following topics: research and finding more historical documents, traveling if perhaps that's an option for you, and alternatives to travel, including the Heritage Quest online database. Some things to keep in mind as we continue on this journey: research can be a tedious process, and sometimes it can be very slow and you don't feel that you're moving forward in any way. And at other times, it can be very fast and overwhelming, and you have all these things that you want to research, and you have tons of documents, and you're making lots of progress, and it's wonderful. But remember to be patient with yourself, and remember history is limited to the documents left behind by those who have gone before us. And sometimes, as frustrating as it is, there may not be a document that provides the exact information you're looking for. So, what are some of the next steps to finding more documents? You've begun your research and you've made progress. Maybe you found some wonderful census records, obituaries, newspaper articles, but you would like to go further to find out maybe more about specific family members or other family members that you couldn't find any documentation on. And now it's time to consider other sources that may be available only in other parts of the United States, internationally, or those that may not yet be digitized. They may only be available in a print format or perhaps a microfilm or microform format. There are many things to think about at this point. Would it be possible to consider doing a genealogy trip? Do you know where these documents are definitively? Do you need to keep doing research and keep searching? Are they scattered across the globe? Are they located in a more central location? Would it be possible to see the documents in the time frame that you have available if you decide to travel? And is a genealogy trip possible? For a number of reasons. Financially, physically, time away from work or family are a few reasons maybe why it's might not work out right now, but perhaps as a consideration at a later date. And let's talk further about potential places to start. If you do decide to conduct a genealogy trip, be sure to have a plan. Know where and when you'll be traveling and how you plan to get there, by plane, train, or automobile. And once you're there, how do you plan to get around? Do you need to consider perhaps that there might be a difference in language, both for communication and interpreting documents that you may come across? And if you're traveling out of the country, will you need a passport or a visa? And if so, you'll want to start planning well ahead of time, perhaps 8 to 10 weeks, if not more, ahead, to ensure that you have enough time to apply for, gather all your documents, your passports, book your hotels, plane tickets, and any rental cars that may be needed ahead of time, especially if you plan to travel during the summer months, as these can often book up quickly. Be sure to keep researching during this time, and during your visits or even in correspondence with repositories and archives, be sure to ask about other places that you may not know about prior to your trip That way you can maybe add some new places that perhaps have documents relevant to your research. Librarians and archivists are very knowledgeable about what may be available in other local collections, especially those that aren't available digitally. So be sure to rely on them as sources of information. Be sure to contact local history societies, libraries, archives, or anywhere you plan to visit in advance to see if an appointment is needed. And if you need to request to view specific documents, to give them time to pull the documents and make sure that they are available for you to view. And you may also need to register with the institution prior to your visit as a researcher or a genealogical researcher, so be sure to ask those questions as well. And look at their website to see if there are any other requirements that may be asked of you prior to your visit. That way you can save time and energy and can spend all of your time when you're there just viewing documents, researching, making sure you have copies of the documents that you find pertinent to your research. If you're unable to travel or perhaps planning to travel at another time, email and phone communication are always options to keep working on research. When corresponding with repositories in a different time zone, whether they be across the country or internationally, be sure to consider the time difference when you're expecting a reply. And they may also have a limited number of staff or volunteers who may not be available to respond to inquiries all the time. So perhaps give them a few weeks before reaching out again if you've sent an email or left a voicemail, as this may give them enough time to take a look at their collections and see if they have what the documents that you're requesting. Our database, Heritage Quest, offers access to databases and records that are becoming available online, including additional U.S. records and international records that are available from across the globe. These documents are organized by region, and in a moment we can take a look at the types of documents available within these resources. Let's talk a little more about the types of documents available within the databases of Heritage Quest. So, to navigate to the Heritage Quest link, you will need to visit our NSLD homepage. You'll want to select the digital collection and then genealogy. And on the genealogy page, Heritage Quest will be located on the left-hand side of the screen, as you can see on the slide. If you are not at a North Suburban Library District location, you will be prompted to log in with your library card number, which is the number on the back of your library card, no spaces, and your 4-digit PIN. If you're visiting the database at an NSLD location, you will automatically be logged into the Heritage Quest webpage when you click the link. To navigate to those databases on the homepage of Heritage Quest, you'll want to click Search at the top of the page, as you can see on the slide, and then scroll down to the bottom of the page to see search records in other locations. You'll notice that there are quite a few databases and collections listed. So some of the locations may have more collections that are digitally available while others may not. This may be due to the fact that records are still being digitized and only still available in print. But the nice advantage of these databases is access to earlier years than perhaps you may find with U.S. records. Some of these date back all the way to the 1500s. Some other resources that you may wish to consider while you're doing more research is the Digital Public Library of America, or DPLA. They have a family research guide that may be helpful to you. They also have specific collections such as yearbooks, family photographs, and oral histories, specifically for those conducting genealogy research. You can also subscribe to their genealogy email list to learn more about using DPLA as a genealogy research space. Another option is called Europeana, and it's a collection of over 50 million items that are available digitally online. You're able to create an account to save items, and they also have digital collections that you can browse to learn more about specific people or places, in addition to doing just a regular search of their collections. Many countries have a national archives or a library that may have a combined collection of digital and print that is constantly changing and being digitized and more items being added. So always be sure, depending on where your research may take you, to check if that country may be able to scan a document for you and email it, or is willing to do some research if the items aren't available for you to take a look at digitally. Local history societies and churches may have land, birth, death, and marriage records available. And if you're looking for more information on the history of your home, these repositories may have photographs and information about previous owners and who built the home or was involved in creating the home that you see today. So that will give you some other options besides checking with the local county where the home was built, and give you perhaps some more personal accounts of the history of your home. Be sure to check out our genealogical and newspaper databases that are available besides Heritage Quest, as these can also be great places to start. We do have access to the Ancestry Library Edition that is available for use at the library, along with many others. Those with an NSLD card are able, as I said, to access Heritage Quest, the Post Journal, and the Rockford Register Star. And the Illinois Digital Archive does not require a library card to access it remotely. So that can also be a wonderful tool that you can use to find out more and get access to more documents. All of our Harlem Peppers are slowly being transcribed and digitally uploaded to the Illinois Digital Archives. The Harlem Pepper was the student newspaper at Harlem High School from the 1930s all the way until the mid 1990s. So be sure to check that out. We are trying to add new editions each month. So be sure to check that out. And as I said, at the library, you can access the Ancestry Library Edition. Please don't hesitate to reach out with questions concerning the contents of our local history collections. The local history email is localhistory@northsld.org, or our phone number to make an appointment is 815-633-4247. Thank you again for joining us for this virtual program, and happy searching.